The government of Jamaica is forging ahead with a significant infrastructural investment aimed at bolstering national security, particularly in the historically challenged St. Catherine North Division. A new state-of-the-art divisional headquarters for the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is currently under construction, a project the Prime Minister recently reviewed as part of the administration's continued commitment to strengthening Jamaica's national security infrastructure. This facility, which represents a $2.2 billion investment, is central to the government's strategy to address persistent organized criminal activity in the Spanish Town area and reclaim communities from the grip of crime and violence. Once operational, the modern headquarters will serve as a strategic center for nearly 300 police personnel, enhancing operational efficiency, improving working conditions for officers, and focusing on deepening community policing. The existing administrative units at the Burke Road Police Station will relocate, allowing that station to undergo full rehabilitation. The government asserts that the new structure will not only serve as a security guarantee, but also as a catalyst for further investment and development in St. Catherine North, aiming to restore public confidence and enable sustainable development by fostering a vision where the headquarters is viewed by residents as an institution of service, protection, and partnership, rather than fear.
This is a statement that the government of Jamaica, the Jamaican state, is going to put its money, $2.2 billion, into the ground in Spanish Town. We're going to take it over and we're going to move out the criminals. That's what it is. We are going to build a state-of-the-art, properly appointed, well-designed security facility. We are going to stake our claim against the gangs and the criminals and the organized enterprises that are engaged in the production of violence in communities like Spanish Town. And we are going to remove you from this space and eliminate your operations. And unfortunately, the area has been a haven to organized criminal enterprises. In another town that is adjunct to Spanish Town, in the Linstead area, I had to visit on Monday a small community called Commodore, where it is clear that the murders that took place there were related to gang activities. I mean, it is beyond being described as unfortunate. It is really distressing that criminal enterprises have been allowed to take root in a historical area like Spanish Town and in a generally very peaceful area of the northern part of St. Catherine, which is not necessarily urbanized. And they have really created mayhem. To deal with this, it is not only necessary to have immediate policing responses through kinetic operations, whether it is, the general presence of police, patrols and investigations, and putting in place zones of operations or states of public emergency or cordons and curfews, the routine police operations. But it is also important to lay a stake in the ground and say we are going to build a state-of-the-art, properly appointed, well-designed security facility. We are going to stake our claim against the gangs and the criminals and the organized enterprises that are engaged in the production of violence in communities like Spanish Town. And we are going to remove you from this space and eliminate your operations. We are going to take over the space. That is essentially what this is. This is a statement that the government of Jamaica, the Jamaican state, is going to put its money, $2.2 billion, into the ground in Spanish Town. We're going to take it over and we're going to move out the criminals. That's what it is. And I'm saying it in this way for all the stakeholders to appreciate. We have the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce for Spanish Town. We have the various leaders of the JCF for the area who are here, the members of the Ministry of the National Security, and people who have a stake in Spanish Town listening, that you should interpret this as the government putting in place the necessary investment to ensure that there is security in Spanish Town. Once that message gets through, not just in the construction, but in the operation of this facility. I had euphemistically said that we're building a police station, and I was appropriately corrected that no, this is the divisional headquarters, which means that it is not merely routine operations. There will be quite a bit of strategic, administrative, and planning operation, but more importantly, there will also be the community engagement here. So it is going to be a very important part of the governance of Spanish Town. And I am expecting that with almost 300 personnel stationed here, with all kinds of operations coming out of this space, that the immediate lands adjoining, most of which are privately owned, that plans that were in the works for I was a boy in Spanish Town, Sparcom, I remember.
Yes, that's right.
To develop all of these lands, that all of these developments can now come to fruition. That the investors who have been holding this land for a very long time, wondering when will it be safe that I can come and do construction in Spanish Town. Once this station is finished and operational, and the police who occupy it are properly missioned, that the ultimate objective is to make sure that development can flow into Spanish Town to take advantage of the natural energy of the people, then we will start to see not just these kinds of development, but a whole host of other developments taking place in the immediate environments and in the outer concentric circles of the development area. So I want to say to the people of Spanish Town, I know it has been said that I am from Spanish Town, but I haven't really focused on the area, especially by your member of parliament. But we have been very strategic in what we have been doing. We cannot have development with gangs operating in the area. The people are going to have to decide, because the gangs have created a culture which in many instances it has become a counterculture, enlisting people in its support. And it is going to take some time. I hate to think it is going to be a generational change, but it's going to take some time for people to understand that there can be development and security without gangs. But that can be accelerated depending on how the police and the other stakeholders engage with the people. it all depends on how this new station that we put here, how the people see it. Are they going to see it as an institution of oppression or an institution of enabling and uplifting? So the government policy will also be supporting and driving the view of a kind of enlightened engagement of the citizenry, which is why we have added on a new subject to the Ministry of National Security, and that is peace. We have to be deliberate now in not just trying to reduce murders, that is reducing conflict, but we have to increase peace. I mean, the absence of conflict doesn't mean that there is peace. Somebody might just be waiting until the opportunity arises. You know, the moment we pull out the police or the patrol stop, then you see a problem. What we want is when we pull out the police or the patrol stops, the peace reigns, the conflict does not re-emerge, and therefore we have to move to another step in our national security strategy in terms of how we engage the citizenry. And that means that the kinds of investments that we will move on to in infrastructure and otherwise social investments, that will change. So once this is complete and while this is being done, we have to look at the housing stock in several of the communities that are adjoining or within the concentric growth circles, development circles of the area. Coming to mind immediately would be the Tarspen community, where some of those houses are over 50 years old, they have past their useful life, and some of them are about to collapse. And the sewage issues and all the other issues that exist there. So we're going to start now with the development of a program to address these issues in Spanish Town, the housing issues. Then we have to look at protecting the heritage assets that are in Spanish Town and create another kind of industry. When I was growing up in Spanish Town, believe it or not, the Spanish Town Square, Emancipation Square, used to be an attraction. Busloads of tourists used to come to go and look at the museum, the archives, the old courthouse. Some of those now, the whole Georgian buildings are, in a state of disrepair. We are losing the heritage value. So we're going to try and reclaim much of that and bring back that, that dignity and pride of our history in Spanish Town. Education is a major issue in the area. We have the largest high school in the Caribbean, St. Catherine High School, my alma mater. That school is overcrowded, and other St. Jago High School I know, Spanish Town High, Jonathan Grant. So when I was Minister of Education, we were contemplating building a new school. We just didn't we couldn't identify the lands. But that is now back on the table. And there is, I said, significant energy within the area for residential housing. And I'm certain that once the security guarantee is strong, you're going to see many private sector developers, who knows, maybe even we can. Well, you're nearby, you're just up the road, coming into the area to have housing developments. And at this point, I would say that we have identified the Innswood, the greater Innswood development area. I don't know if that is going to be in the north side or is that in the south. I believe it may be in your police division, to be in the north. Yes. So this would be of great help to the greater Innswood development area, which is where we're seeing quite a bit of interest already in doing housing development. Certainly the police station that is there, that was recently built, would be a great asset to developments happening in that area. So generally, this investment should be seen as the spark of other